So this next part is too difficult for me to sort of show in a video how it's done. So I'm just going to have to explain it. This is setting the power indicator. So this is the power indicator right here. This is the power indicator shaft. And on the clock, it's this shaft right here. And so we get it all back together. And the first thing that we have to do is we have to look through the small circle in the face of the clock. And what we're trying to do is get it so that it's red, but if we turn it just slightly this direction, it'll turn the color of the face of the clock. So this one is red and silver, one in here is red and gold, because the color of our clock is the face of the clock is gold. So we want to get it so that it's red, but if we just turned it a little bit, it would be showing the color of the face of the clock. So I set this to red. So through that hole you see red, and then I want to hold this in place. The shaft, I want to hold it in place. And what I do is I take some poster putty and knead it up so it's nice and warm, and then come around to the back here and just put it around the shaft to hold it in place. So once I've got that set up, what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this counterweight, which goes on to the shaft. Getting it off isn't a problem. Getting it on isn't a problem, because there's this narrow part, actually it's right here, where it just goes right on. But then it needs to be it needs to come forward once it goes on, and that isn't a problem either. It'll go forward, but it won't stay there, and so that's where the problem arises. So what we're trying to do is have it so that it is like this in relation to the coil. So here's our coil, and the shaft is above it like this, and we want this thing to be on there in this position, okay? So in a horizontal position with nothing but the red showing through the hole in the face of the clock. Now what I do, because it's not going to want to stay on there like that, is I take super glue gel and I just put a little bit on there and then put that on to the shaft. And I've actually cut a piece of cardstock this size, and I slip it in underneath on top of the coil. And the reason that I do that is because what I'm going to do is, after I put the counterweight on with the super glue gel, I'm going to hit it with this Insta-Set. And what this does, you spray it on, and it when it hits super glue, it instantly causes it to cure. It's not really instant, it's like a couple seconds. But that's what I'm going to do. So once I get it set up on there the right way, with only the red showing through the hole in the face, I'm going to spray it with some Insta-Set. And that's a good start. Okay, now here's the problem. When I apply electricity to the coil, what's going to happen invariably is this end right here is going to get caught in an electromagnetic field, and it's going to pull this down, and that should change the color we see through that little window. And when it pulls down, it's red like this. When it pulls down, it moves it like this, so it's now the color of the clock face. Well, that's a problem, because the way the system is designed, it's not supposed to go from red back to the color of the clock face unless you manually get behind it and turn it so that the counterweight catches in the electromagnetic field. And the way it is, just putting it back on there, it'll catch in the electromagnetic. Now, actually, it doesn't really matter for functioning today. They had this whole system because electricity wasn't dependable back in the day. So it really doesn't matter. But to get it so that it works the way it was originally intended, what I do is a total rig up, okay? Because I don't know how in the world it's supposed to go on there and get it just right. I don't know if it's a technique or a special tool or what. So this is what I do. So once you have the counterweight actually with the super glued onto the shaft above the coil, what I do, and this isn't something everybody needs to do, but when I fix a case and I mix resin epoxy, I have a mold of this, and I just pour the excess resin epoxy in it, and that gives me a whole bunch of little pieces like this, and I cut the tail end off. And what I'm going to do is, with this counterweight on there, I'm going to put some super glue gel on this back piece and glue it on there. And then I'm going to do it to the other side. And then I'm probably going to have to put some super glue gel on top of that. But that's what you're seeing right here. Okay, that's on either side of this counterweight. I've attached one of these pieces, and then I've put the super glue gel on top of that and hit it with Instaset. And it doesn't look good. That's part of the reason why I hate it. Okay, but it does work. So right now it's holding this in the red position, and if I turn on the electricity, the electromagnetic field isn't strong enough to pull this down. So it'll stay red until I go back here and manually turn it. And then it'll go down and catch in the electromagnetic field the way it's supposed to. And then I disconnect the electricity, it'll go back like that. So it's a whole lot of effort into something that is not being done the right way to begin with. It's not the proper way to do it. Not supposed to be any super glue on that thing, but that's the way I do it, because I don't understand how it's supposed to be done, and maybe someday I will. But if I plug it in, I will get that movement right there. One thing that's a word of caution is, before doing this, make sure you don't have the lamp post in there. That will cause a problem trying to get to this. Okay, so you have this unscrewed. In fact, I do is put this in dead last for a particular reason I'll talk about. Okay, but if you keep piling glue on top of this thing, then that is going to interfere. It's going to knock into this once this is installed, which you don't want. So it's okay to actually add glue to the sides of the counterweight. Like putting glue here and here is better than putting it just on top, because you don't want that a big blob on there, which is then going to hit the lamp post when it's installed. So that's what I got.